So we now have two different Legend and the Mist streams going on now. So um, that's just another great opportunity to have some confusion. So it's wonderful. Okay, welcome everyone. It is April 7th. Wow, we're in April. And we are back again for our Monday night stream of Legend in the Mist, where our heroes are in the High Glade region of the Dales and have been causing trouble or trying to stop trouble from being caused or some such thing. And so I wanted to go over, let's start our session first by just going over the characters real quick. I know we had an opportunity, some did, to make changes. So let's see. Marshall Jared, I think you are good to go on your sheet. And looking over other things here. Looks pretty good. Did the fellowship make it to, no, not quite yet, making
Nope.
it to an improvement? Right? There goes Jared. Bye, Jared. Back again. All right. All right. So Maya, it looks like you have two improvements waiting for you. There is the trait theme and the skill or trade theme that both are due a power tag or some such. Did you know that? Oh, wait. Wrong guy. That's Maya. Maya's not here tonight.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah. I'm like, well, you're not talking, so fine. Oh yeah, you're not going to be here. So so now we're talking about Ashwin. You're good to go. It looks like you added one to your personality last week.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, I think you're all set. You just have the outstanding issue of Novice Astromancer.
Yep.
And so, what are your thoughts on how you might recover that?
Can you remind me real quick of what moment it was last session that we burned it?
I think you were trying
It was on the
to,
monolith, right?
yeah. You were trying to piece together words and using star wisdom to
Yeah.
add to it.
So yeah, if I remember correctly,
You
I
got thoroughly
flavored
confused.
as it was such a complex
Hmm.
spell for her compared to her level of
Right.
experience that it confused her mind, it overwhelmed her and everything, her imagination and stuff. So one of the things that I actually added to her personality one in the growth was something that she does to uh, kind of comfort herself and recenter herself. This is something she does every night. She stays up late and she stargazes. I think refocusing herself by gazing the stars one night would be the kind of thing that would restore her uh, mental focus and clarity and center her mind again.
Cool. Yep. All right. I like it. All right. So I think uh, you can maybe get back in touch and recenter yourself after a good night or two of stargazing. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
with that. All right. And then Chewbacca, I don't see anything new on your sheet.
Well, I would have to show up more. Sorry.
Indeed, that is definitely. I try to play your weaknesses when you're not here, but that's not as fun. So I don't do it as often. All right. So yes. So all right. Good. Well, we've done a quick review of the characters. Is there any volunteers for our recap? Our last episode on Legend in the Mist. What does anyone want to do that in character for an attention or a growth point?
Oh, in character?
Oh yeah. You were getting all ready and then I threw a wrench in the works.
Yeah, you did. I got to think about how that would work out.
But
In City of Mist, it's always recap the last adventure in character for an attention. They call out the
Come on, Chewbacca, you got this.
opening monologue. Yeah.
So like first person.
Sure. Or you talking to the audience, or however you like, writing as if you are musing to yourself, any which way you like.
You could tell it like a campfire story.
Well, I'll give it a try if I'll give you the opportunity, Chewbacca, to give it a chance yourself if you want the experience.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I didn't think I remember last session well enough. Has it done? I would have to like watch the stream or something to be that.
I can give you some reminders.
That would be good.
So started out with two of us captured.
Oh yeah. Not only had we lost our group, but uh, we didn't even really know how to find them. And then this guy goes running past with some books, and all worried, and runs off. And it seems like their camp is actually the camp of a theater troupe. So we started following all of the tracks and everything back. Oh yeah. Uh, but first, I was in the bottom of a pit and I covered myself in dirt. Good times. But we finally found our companions, and they were down in a big pit full of water and a big stone monolith. And so we made our way down and found out what was what. Apparently, the monolith was important to Maya's growth or something, but it was kind of broken with some chips falling off. And so we repaired it with like face putty, and we were able to store it enough that she says that she talked to her group or her leader, but I don't think she really told us much. It didn't seem to last any time as far as we were able to notice. But then we, oh no, oh no. The big spirit showed up. A monkey face, or the owl's face. And I think that's what happened.
Yep. Very good. All right. So go ahead and add 1 point of, I think on your sheet it's called experience, which is growth or what have you, depending on which version of the playtest rules you happen to look at on a given day. I'm sure they'll settle in by May 1st on an actual term, and we'll start using that from now on. So, Ashwin, is there anything that you'd like to add to that, just as a matter of fact of recap? Any points of interest?
Mostly, let's see. Yeah, Ashrin, as Chewbacca's kind of recounting the tale around the fire. Ashrin kind of speaks up that he forgot to mention everything the Watcher talked about. He mentioned uh, that the Oath remembers more than we do. Uh, he mentioned many cryptic things, and Maya seemed to know some of it, even some stuff that wasn't written on the monolith or anything like that. It was so strange. He didn't attack us or anything. He was very scary though. Um, but yeah, I've we should really study this longer. Can we go back there? I mean, we should probably maybe uh, go back when we have guards or more weapons or something. But sometime.
And
I look
Jared, how about
I
you?
look at her. When she says that, I look at her and I chuckle, and I'm going, and do you honestly think more guards would have made a difference against that entity?
It would have made
I
me feel safer.
You just
I
rack up and count
actually
the
wasn't
bodies.
able to. I wasn't able to observe your tussle with the monster.
It threw a tree trunk.
Hmm.
I'm
Okay.
not eager to actually face it again. But it is a mystery worth investigating at some point. Going back might not be a bad idea to see exactly
We
what
talked to you just
happens.
fine though.
Well, that's because I made no demands of it. And I really just wanted to leave with an assurance that we wouldn't disturb it and it wouldn't disturb us, which was the unspoken agreement. But you bring up a point. It did say a couple of more things, and Maya said a couple of more things than we understood at the time, so only time will tell.
Yeah, I didn't
As
understand
far
either,
as
but I wrote it in my notebook. I can read them off again if you want.
Yeah, if you don't mind, that'd be a good recap.
So the monolith had by root and ruin, so shall I, fate, my life, by soil and storm. And that was when Maya said, breath and bone. The Watcher called us charlatans. Said it walked many paths, but uh, none of them none of them know us. I didn't understand that part. He asked if we were going to shape the world or survive it. Yes.
Yeah, I remember that part, and I remember Maya being kind of distanced off as she touched the monolith, so there's more there than meets the eye, but, if and when she feels good enough to relay it, she'll do so, or she may not.
I'm going to have to talk to her more when she's available.
Yeah, so I mean, as far as the extra information to add to it, no. We've kind of covered most of it.
So the assumption is that you have returned back to your home base presently, to have these discussions and stargaze and return to the matters of taking care of the village and caring for the people, etc. So back here at your manor house, is there anything that you want to do? I think Ashwin would like to try to recover her burnt tag. So,
Yeah.
yep. So over the course of a couple nights of stargazing, probably from the roof, you've climbed up on the roof, etc. Then you'll be able to recover that. So you can go ahead and get that burnt tag back again. Are there any specific matters of urgency that Jared or Chewbacca would like to take care of during this, let's say, 2-night period?
Well, I will talk to Garrick and get caught up to speed. I'll relay to him exactly what transpired in the woods, so he's aware of it. But given the sensitive nature of all these, and really no assurances that any sort of transgression in the future won't result in more deaths, I think it's probably prudent to keep how much information goes out limited to potentially need to know.
Well, yes, my lord, I would tend to agree. You must have some sort of strategy in mind to help keep the villagers from getting too excitable.
Well, we can always lay the blame on that troop. They were responsible, actually, for a lot of the mayhem. And I'm gonna leave the rest to their imaginations as to what they're willing to blame on the troop. I will not say specifically that they had a hand in murder. I have no assurances they've killed anyone, but I can also tell you that they haven't. I can't with certainty tell you that they haven't. So we know that they were responsible for a lot of trickery, including the incident in town. So the aldermen will have to spread that as what it is and to be mindful of this troop if it ever comes around, and perhaps that will suffice.
Well, my lord, if you wouldn't mind, I wish to be excused to go continue to prepare for Winterfest.
Of course.
All right. So with that, Garrick turns about and marches out of the room.
Perfunctorily, right?
Indeed.
So with that, I'll catch up with Martha and see how she's doing and check in on our apparently adopted ward, Timothy.
Yeah. So she tells you in short form, Timothy's doing fine. She has him working on his reading and writing, and they are looking for a more permanent home for him. Also, she's a little bit frazzled because her part in this upcoming Winterfest is a big deal to her. She's not done anything like that before, and so she's expected to sort of lead and organize some of the ladies' activities and the lantern hanging and so on and so forth. And she knows nothing about these local traditions here. This is their first winter, and she feels already behind the 8 ball, and she doesn't know what she's going to do. And what if she gets it wrong?
Is Emma's a local, correct?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say talk to Emma.
Well, I mean, I have been, but it doesn't fall on her shoulders. So, yeah, okay. Yeah, she's young. Does she really know what all the traditions are? What if she what if she doesn't know something?
B's also local, right?
Yes, yes. They're all pretty much locals that work around here. We're the ones that stand out.
Well, then I would rely on them, and where they fall short of information, ask them where the information could be attained. Who can have it? Who would have it?
All right, all right. So,
I put my hand on her shoulder and I go, I know you can do this. It's a lot, but you've done wonderfully by the homestead.
I know
I am
I can.
proud
I know.
of you.
All right, well, I'll be off to it. You, sir, stay out of trouble and take care of yourself.
I wouldn't know the first thing. And then I just wink and walk off.
Okay. All right. So,
I opened
Yeah.
conversation on some evening about where our goal is and how to achieve it at this point. Where do we go from here?
Well,
Ashvin would say there's several things they could look into. The troop, she notices that they panicked about the stories that they were kind of like playing out or whatever weren't supposed to be real, which says that maybe parts of their story were real or whatever. We could look into the story of the what was it, the Hollow Maw.
well, that will
Yeah.
definitely fill in some of the blanks.
When they ran off, the troop leader took a couple books that he seemed very urgent about taking with him. And then there's the Witchwood that Maya might know more about.
Yes,
I'm
and I
seeing
am
it.
all for giving the opportunity for one of you to catch up on one of your matters. As of this moment, I've actually secured the woods, secured the town. I'm good with my Baronly duties, but if any of you have something that you would like to propose, by all means, bring it up.
Ashford says, "Are you sure that thing's still in the forest?"
That thing can't be dragged out of the forest if you wanted to. I look at her deadpan. I have no intentions of engaging it.
I'm not either. I'm just, can you really just leave it there? Is it safe?
Can you really remove it?
She just gives a shrug.
Yeah, that's how I feel. And that's no reflection on experience. That's just your gut telling you that you don't know. What we can say is that it's dangerous in the inner part of the woods. Put warnings to keep people out. Say it's unsafe. Mud slides,
Shouldn't you
sand
try
pits, whatever will keep them
understanding
out of
it
there.
more?
Well, that would require additional studies, and if that's what people would like to do, we can do that. All we know is that it's a hollow maw, apparently, according to this troop. We know a little bit more now, but we know as much as the Viscount knows, if not more. We actually know more than the Viscount right at this moment in time. And I'm not eager to give him that information because his curiosity might lead him to that monolith. I'd have to see it with my own eyes. And then we have a dead Viscount.
This is a question I have. Was Maya the only one that physically touched the monolith?
Yes.
To my knowledge,
Yes.
yes.
Well,
Okay.
we were touching it up a lot,
I know we were touching like the broken pieces and
but
trying to fit them in.
Nobody was touching
after
it while it was active. Only my
right
house.
after it was
after it was
repaired.
repaired. Yeah.
That's why I said
Uh,
she holds on to a lot of things that we don't fully know, and hopefully she'll share some things, but we can't
Yeah.
obviously press her.
Ashern.
I think she has a lot to think about. But, I'm worried that she might be putting herself in danger while she is contemplating the future or whatever she is doing. Is someone watching her?
What was my last doing when we were last aware of her?
She went for a walk.
I mean,
You could
we
probably
just
go out
kind of
on
came.
the porch, like on the back porch or whatever, and look over the land and see if you could spy her somewhere. She said she'd be out in the field.
Yeah, all right. So we walk and talk and take a look and see if we see her from the porch.
You don't, but what you do see is a pretty significant entourage. These are horses with lances and banners, and they're way in the distance. They're entering, what you can see of your land before it goes over the next rise, and they're on the road that goes to your village, and then maybe on to Highglade.
Interesting. I'll see if I can send one of the house pages to see if what's transpiring in town. Unless you guys would like to go with me and find out. It could be
can we
just
see-
passing through, but you never know when you get new news.
Yeah. Can we see what I guess iconography the banners have?
You don't, if you don't know
If it's too small, that's fine. Yeah.
well, the color scheme is familiar to at least Chewbacca.
Hmm.
These are soldiers from Stormhelm.
Oh yeah, Stormhelm. I'm not sure they respected me very much there.
They may not have.
Stormhelm is to the north, correct? So would they be passing through to head on to Stormhelm?
That's the capital. No, they're coming from the north, across your land, maybe toward Highglade.
Okay. All right. Well, I see if we can get a carriage, and I will take these two with me, and we're gonna head into town and see what's up on their way to Highglade and see what the hubbub is about.
On the way, Ashern asks Chewbacca if he's from Stormhelm.
Oh no, I've traveled quite a ways, but I have been there, and
I let Garrick know before we obviously leave.
I
that we're
think
heading
they
there.
were worried about me. Remember, I keep my scar covered, and that makes a lot of people uncomfortable.
Okay,
So yes, with no.
yeah, you guys go into the village, And you get there as this entourage was already passed through. However, there are two new women that have arrived, escorted by these folks, or at least along for the ride. And so let's head over to our little village scene, and let's put Ashrin. Ashrin's out there. Let's put Chewbacca out there. And some new women have appeared. This is one, and this is the other. Let me give you a better picture. I believe I have something of a picture of them together. They're clearly a set. They come in sets, and this is the set. Let's see. I got a picture, but the picture wasn't exactly right. But this is pretty close. This is not too far off. It wasn't exactly right, so I modified them down into solos, and then this picture has them bearing a cross, and I reminded my AI that the cross is not the symbol that these people will bear, but this is. And so you see that in your chat. I'll pop it out for our studio audience here. So these are willow leaves surrounding a closed eye with a tear coming from the eye. And Chewbacca, you recognize this immediately. I'll give you a chance to guess before I lay it out for you as to what Chewbacca knows.
It's the entity that I am devoted to.
Indeed, this is the Weeping One, right? Known metaphorically as the Weeping One.
Yes.
Indeed. So
as
very
they
respectful
there, right? Mm-hmm.
and gracious.
I do approach the sisters, and I go, sisters, welcome. I happen to be the Baron of these lands. What brings you through here? Did you come here with that troop of soldiers, or independently?
Yes, we did. I am Sister Amaryl, and this is my associate Bryn. We are envoys of Ashram the Weeping. We've come to the village to lend aid.
Do you know
I kind pull out my holy symbol around my neck. And bow and honor them.
And they are a child of the Weeping One. So good to see. She, of course.
Ashton interrupts and just, what's the Weeping One?
Well, this is Ashram, the god of compassion and healing. Would you like to learn a little bit more of our Lord and Savior, Ashram the Weeping?
She gullibly says yes.
And I dutifully backstep. Like, it's so subtle that you don't even notice. It's just like she goes yes, and I just backstep.
It's almost like Ashram took a step forward instead. That's how subtle we were.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
like Homer into the hedges.
Well, I'll tell you. You know, in the age before the first empires, before the world knew the weight of kingdoms or clash of swords. It was only pain. And Sister Amaryl, you notice, she has this perpetual redness to her eyes, though um, you will notice over time she would ever cry very rarely. But this just seems to be like a permanent aspect of her face, is that she looks sad and as if she had been crying just all the time. The newborn race of the world suffered without relief. Wounds festered, the weak perished, and grief was an unending tide. The gods of war and dominion shaped the land with fire and iron, but none offered solace to the broken. It is said, from the suffering of mortals, a single divine tear fell into the world. This tear, filled with sorrow for the forsaken and the hope of the dying, took form in a being who could not bear to witness the agony around him. And this was Ashram, the first to weep for the wounded, the first to kneel beside the dying, the first to offer a hand rather than a blade. But compassion alone could not halt death. Seeing the cruelty of the world, Ashram sought to bring mercy where none had been given. He wandered the land, his presence soothing pain, his voice bringing peace to the restless souls. Yet the other gods saw his kindness as weakness. The Lord of Blades mocked him. Mistress of Shadow whispered of his futility, and the King of Chains declared him a fool. The gods challenged Ashram. If you would ease suffering, they said, bear it yourself. And so he did. Ashram took upon himself the burdens of the sick, the wounds of the dying, and the anguish of the grieving. With every soul he saved, his own body bore the pain that had been spared. His hands bled with unseen wounds. His breath grew shallow with unseen afflictions. But he never faltered. Where he walked, famine lessened, plagues retreated, and sorrow became a whisper instead of a wail. Yeah, and that's not all. Ashram could heal people too by trading with them. Their wounds or grief for his own. Yes, Bryn, you're correct. Well, this is the basic. This is Ashram, the weeping one. Does that help answer your questions, young lady?
She seems pleased at the bit of information, but she says in a confused voice, "But I don't know of an Ashram constellation."
A constellation? Why?
Perhaps he's just stories.
It is said he has not yet ascended, that he still walks the earth.
I look at Ashrin with a very frustrated and angry face.
Yeah, she doesn't really have a filter on this stuff.
It is said he wanders the land still, perhaps visiting people in grief and in suffering without them even knowing who he is. And we,
It sounds like he has great magic.
Of course he does. As a god.
Could I meet him?
Perhaps you will. But it is also said that when you take on the suffering of another to relieve them, he walks with you, and that you meet him in that way.
Ashrin frowns a bit and says more cryptic words.
And with that, I reach out and pull her back and go, thank you, sisters, for sharing the faith. It is wonderful to have you here, and we greatly appreciate the service of your deity.
There are lots of legends and stories about Ashram. Do you want to hear one?
Yes.
Perhaps after.
Ashrin opens her mouth to say yes, and I assume Marshal Jared covers her mouth.
Yeah, okay. Well, it depends. It depends,
tale.
because if such an action would be done right in front of her face, I wouldn't. It would be disrespectful. But you would hear me say something and then just bite my own tongue. Go on.
I spread my hands wide, and with one arm I kind of nudge Ashton forward. It's like, if you knew all of the things, you would change your mind. I assure you. Great things. I'm so happy to have one of my faith here to share our beliefs and things,
There's a tale.
and to remind me things I
Sorry.
have forgotten.
Well, maybe this will remind you of something. There's a tale that tells of a warlord who mocked Ashram, claiming that no god of mercy could withstand his wrath. In his arrogance, he called upon Ashram, demanding to prove his power. And the god did arrive. He took the warlord's sword and he plunged it into his own chest. Yet no blood spilled. Only a single tear fell from the wound. The warlord, unable to lift his blade again, became a healer in repentance. So,
I mean, you believe that, right?
You talking to Ashrin?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds so believable.
Yeah, actually, Ashrin does want to believe it. She says, "I'd love to see this magic."
well, in the aftermath of a great war, the sick and the wounded had no place to go, so Ashram guided a blind man to go to a hidden valley where he built the first sanctuary of peace. And to this day, no violence can be wrought within the borders, for Ashram's presence lingers there. Maybe that's where you could find him.
Where is this valley?
I don't know.
I open my shirt. Ashrin, cut me. I'll show you.
Ashrin says, "Ew, no."
We should allow the sisters to settle in. They've only just arrived, so I'm sure they have pressing matters, and we should not be detaining them from it.
Yes, this town has experienced much grief recently. So we are here to comfort those afflicted with sorrow and pain.
I give them the name of the alderman and say, should you need anything, please feel free to call upon him in my name.
I shall do so. Thank you, good Lord.
Thank you, ladies. And if you will, so the soldiers that passed through here, did they share any information regarding what brought them to town?
Who are you talking to?
To the two nuns,
Oh,
sisters.
sister. Yeah, yeah. So she says, well, we were traveling with them. They were on the way to Highglade, and we heard stories of recent deaths here, so we thought we would stop here and then follow along after. I understand you're having a festival soon. Maybe we shall stay through that.
That would be lovely. Please avail yourself to our comforts. And
We
with
shall
that,
set a
I
chair for you. Thank you.
thank you. And are you two done, or do you wish to talk more?
I will take these ladies to an appropriate place to stay. And, make sure that
Yep.
all of their worshiping needs are met. And if you can spare me, I'll stay with them
Ashrin, do you have anything that you
until they
want
leave.
to find out, or you good?
I'm just gonna, out of character, tell you that she will not stop unless you make her. There's a
Okay.
never-ending list of questions she would ask them, so it's probably
Yes,
best
and
to.
knowing her propensity for not necessarily being delicate in matters, I will actually say, come, Ashrin, we need to make our way to Highglade and find out what's transpiring, or at least find out what we can before we get there.
Yeah, she's scribbling what notes she can from their stories in her notebook, because this is another lead on some magic. But yeah, she quickly finishes her scribbles and says, "Okay."
All right. And I look at Chewbacca and I said, and we'll send word for you when we're either there or ready to head out. I don't know how this is going to play out. And I bow to the two ladies, and we make way towards Highglade. How far would Highglade be from the town now?
It's a few hours walk or ride.
Okay. Yeah, well, we'll get some horses and we'll go.
Okay.
And while I'm riding with Ashton, I'll say there's a difference in that magic. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know all of these things. But you are talking about divine holy magic versus what could be, I knew an old hermit who did old world magic. So that didn't have anything that I knew to do with a particular god. It may have, but he never mentioned it. So you want to be careful when you talk to them about magic, because I know the direction that you're coming from is looking at magic as different types of magic, but not all magic is the same or comes from the same place. That much I know. And people get very, very touchy when you start to compare or contrast or dissect what their magic is. But I'm not saying not to look into it.
Ashton would rebut and say, she thinks she knows a bit about magic, having spent her entire childhood learning about it, and the source of magic, of all the different kinds people talk about, is mysterious and always vague. No one really knows what causes magic or the different kinds.
True. But they believe strongly in theirs. So any perceived slight would insult them. And nothing makes things more crazier than when it comes down to...
But you can't find the truth without asking questions.
True. True. I'll tip my head to that. Yep, you have to ask. And you did. And they answered you.
Yeah, just not all my questions. I have a lot more
And we'll
here.
just...
Do you want to hear what
I know
questions
that.
I was going to ask?
It's a long ride. Go ahead.
Along the ride, she breaks out her notebook and lists all the theories and thoughts she had about their stories and what it could possibly be and stuff.
I do really actually listen, and I do ask, good questions based on what's being presented to me, so that I can make her feel more comfortable with feeling that she can express herself more openly and not feel like she's being judged. So I do take the time to acknowledge her worldview on magic and get to understand it slightly better than I understood it prior to her.
While I am
She
with
definitely lets her
Sister,
guard down some.
while I'm with Sister Amaryl and Bryn, I will spend that time encouraging Bryn to tell me all the stories again.
Oh, well, I know some great stories. And so she says, she tells you some different stories. And she says, how long have you followed the Weeping One?
Mm. Ah. Yeah, it's got to be about 3 years. Yeah. 3 years.
Wow, 3 years. I've only, I've only walked in sorrow with Sister Amel here for just about a year now.
I'm jealous, though. You are able to bask in her faith every day.
Ah, yes, Sister Amaryl is wonderful. She's so sad.
And I say with, great emphasis, it makes me sad as well. There's so much suffering in the world. It is
But there's a
brutal.
little bit less when we take it onto ourselves.
I smiled at her with that.
Tell me your story.
The other day, I woke up in a pit, surrounded by
No,
dirt.
I meant the story of what brought you to Ashram, you silly. And did you really wake up in a pit?
Oh yeah.
Ashram does not require us to give up the drink, but maybe you should.
Well, I don't remember the intervening hours. Maybe I was drunk. If I was, I will certainly try to make sure it never happens again.
Ah, well, great. Please, take us to those who suffer most in the village. We can go cry with them.
Oh, certainly. I try to visit them several times a day if I can, and aid the healers there.
Okay, so you take them to say where the old hunter. Maybe there were some friends that are mourning the loss of the old hunter, and who else? Who else did we encounter? I think there was some other guy that got killed on the road, but turns out he probably wasn't killed. So they begin to schedule a vigil for that night, and they gather candles and such to set around his porch area so that they can offer some lamenting on his behalf. And, all right. Meanwhile, further down the road, you two are horseback riding and debating various aspects of the stories of the Weeping One.
Hey, on my background.
Yeah, I'll tell Ashrin that when we arrive there, do not mention the monolith or the guardian for it. I think it is better kept to a need to know and not to encourage incursion at this point.
She'll say she's not necessarily well aware. She's experienced people's fear of the unexplained.
Discretion's a
the
bit of
value of being
valor.
discreet.
Okay, so we'll fast forward a little bit, and while Chewbacca remains in the village, holding a candlelight vigil for the old eaten from the inside out hunter. He's witness to some fantastic weeping and mourning and that sort of thing. Meanwhile, the others have reached the others have reached Highglade, and we'll just use this art that we used last time as a representation of the village, not necessarily Bancroft Hall, even though that's where this is. But this will represent Highglade at this point. So when you arrive in town, there are new guards at the gate. So this town's just big enough to have a gate that they do close up at night to sort of just keep out wild animals or, any ne'er-do-wells. They do protect the village. It's got like palisade walls and large wooden gates. And now there are soldiers that bear the emblem of capital. So these are purple and gold, kind of a baldric with a crown on it, and they stand at attention. They're not really doing much right now. So as you go past the gate, they just nod. They're not like scrutinizing people coming and going. It's not like there's martial law or anything. They seem to be maybe support troops. And as you go in the town, you see just a little bit more presence. As far as you can tell from the couple of streets that you kind of walk through, that there may be a dozen soldiers here. But these are well armed and armored soldiers. Some horseback, some foot soldiers. So you could, as various choices possible, you could go talk to a soldier, maybe find someone that looks of a higher rank, or you could talk to just a foot soldier, or you could go visit Lord Bancroft if you wanted to.
I think it would be appropriate to see Lord Bancroft as opposed to just him finding out that I was there without first seeing him.
You also notice that the town is stringing ropes across the streets to hold banners of the Winterfest, which you find out from just asking here or there. Oh, what's this going on? It is called Ember Night, and that is the name of the winter festival that is held throughout Highglade. As a matter of fact, you learn in passing that a lot of the smaller villages around, they all travel in for Ember Night. If they're within a day's journey, they'll travel and stay for the festival, which is 3 nights that launch the darkest nights of winter.
Awesome. This will be my first real experience with that festival, correct? Because
Yeah,
Mrs.
yeah.
and I have not been. So yeah, I'm
Correct.
looking forward to it.
Ravensdale doesn't do anything like this. It doesn't really snow. It gets cold and chilly. It's rainy and that sort of thing during the winters. But that's a pretty fertile land year round. You can almost grow crops all year round in it. Gets a little too cold.
Have you
during the summer,
memorized your lines?
right?
So yes, I think we'll be seeing and paying our respects to the Viscount
Okay.
before we do any ferreting of information.
All right. Well, when you arrive at Vancroft Hall, you are notified by the liverymen that are at the door that Lord Vancroft is currently engaged, but he should be free soon. If you'd like to wait in the oratory, you're welcome to.
Okay, well, if someone can seek me and let me know when he's available, that's fine. I will probably just avail myself of walking around and familiarizing myself with the facilities.
Okay. All right, so you go to the outhouse while you're waiting and familiarize yourself with the facilities.
Yep. And then after that, I make my way to find a senior soldier.
Okay. All right. Well, you are hailed down after you.
Hey,
you don't
it
get very
worked in
far.
school. It'll work there.
Right. You need a hall pass.
Yep.
You are brought in before you get too far. You were getting ready to. You were kind of like getting the small talk out of the way with the soldier before you started weaving in some politically oriented questions, etc. And you are told that Lord Vancroft is ready now.
Oh, I tap
And
the
so-
shoulder of the soldier and go enjoy Winterfest, and I make my way off.
Okay. So you and Ashrin both go in to meet Lord Vancroft. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. Well, he goes, well, look, if it isn't Marshal Maximus, welcome.
My lord, it is good to see
Yes.
you.
What brings you
I hope-
back here to Highglade so soon?
To let you know what I discovered of the mystery
Oh,
in the
yes.
forest.
I'm very fascinated in hearing about the mystery. What's you got?
Behind some mysteries are just miscreants. You could change a couple of letters and you would get it. And I give him and regale him with the information about the troop of bandits that had rigged their scheme in the woods and have probably done it in many parts of the land if no one's threaded this together already. And how they made their way off in a certain direction with plenty of goods.
Huh. Well. Now, who would have thought of that? That is quite bold, if I must say so. I reckon maybe
In
we
all
should
honesty.
we should probably begin to vet the entertainment that travels through. Maybe we should do that.
Might be a good thing, sir.
Help
As
keep
well,
the
it would
people
be to
safe.
notify other neighboring territories of this troop's activity. Maybe they might be emboldened to retry it again once they get out of our sights.
Ah, indeed, yes, because that there seems to be some things happening in our region here that are things to keep an eye out for.
Anything you are at liberty to say, sir?
Well,
I
what
saw
you-
the soldiers riding towards.
Indeed. Capital has made some overtures
And
to help protect us in the region once they've heard rumors of such things, and why seemed like a great idea here because we must keep the people safe, and who knows, this could also bring some great wealth to the area too. Maybe open up new trade or provide a more established roadway that comes through here instead of the mud trap that they had to slog through to get here themselves. Through your village, for example.
Right. I mean, definitely we could use the extra assistance in securing the region. And those woods, for one, are very dense, very primordial. It would be wise to keep people out of things where they could get lost or hurt. Or, as we said, we're waylaid there by bandit troop. You had to see it. They actually had quite a high production value, but my words could never do them justice. But that only leads me to believe that they've robbed many of folks.
Yes, or worse. So it's very good you were able to uncover the truth of that matter, and that will help us to stay alert should they ever rear their ugly maw again, or perhaps any others get ideas to do the same.
Yes. And I felt that you would want to know this, since you could spread word quickly through the regions.
For sure. So, will you be staying for the Winter Festival?
I would love to, my lord, but the missus
No
is
buts, no
organizing
buts.
the very
You
first.
should stay. I have no doubt that you will enjoy it. Their local customs, local superstitions, and so forth. Talking about, lighting the way through the darkest of winter, keeping the fire alight, that sort of thing. Lots and lots of local symbolism and whatnot. I'm sure it will be right up your alley, you bumpkin.
I would be honored to witness Winterfest here before I head back to Winterfest there, my lord.
All right, well, it sounds like a deal then. You two can stay here in my hall.
You're most gracious. Thank you. I will not detain you from any further of your activities. I know that you are a very busy man. I'm glad you were able to meet with me for the time we had.
Good. All right, meanwhile, back in the village, Chewbacca and the two sisters. So, do anything that the sisters do or say help to draw you to them, or make you feel kind of conflicted about them or what they bring? No, Chewbacca? Okay, well, when you are done there, um, they will, and so once they've kind of offered their spiritual guidance to the villagers, um, you catch wind that the villagers are all planning to go to the main, like the county seat, so to speak, the main town of Highglade, where everyone comes together to celebrate the Winterfest, called the Emberlight Vigil. And so the sisters ask if you would escort them to go to Highglade.
Would love to. I have so many things I could show you that I've been trying to uh, get off to get enacted in Highland.
Okay. So one of the things that Sister Amaryl asks you is, it seems that something troubles you, son. What is it that gives your heart some tribulation? What troubles you, boy?
Well, I should tell you that I was not a good person earlier. I had created a lot of pain with my actions. So I'm hoping that I am on the right path.
Well, young man, I think that you can take a moment to bury the dead and grieve your old self's passing. And in that way, you are already changing and preparing for what Ashram has for you to come.
I start to tear up and I look pleadingly at the sister. Would you be willing to pray with me? Sorry, pray with me?
Of course. Of course. And so she offers what she refers to as a blessing of the wellspring, which is the way that the earth sheds tears for those who live upon it and blesses their lives with pureness and much needed moisture, and causes things to grow and whets the thirst, etc. And so she goes through this whole kind of ritual with you, praying. And meanwhile, Bryn has been helping set up a little small shrine in the village out of stacked stones and kind of some wood shingles. And so created this little tiny shrine to allow the villagers to have some place to bring their sorrows. So then you guys pack it up and head. They don't really carry much. They carry just basic needs. They have a small backpack basically that has some of their basic camping needs or whatever. They usually sleep under the stars or in the rain, or whatever suffering the world brings upon them, they endure it for the greater good. So with that, you head toward Highglade, and you do this, of course, all kind of the next morning, so that by noon you have arrived, and you easily can find the other two that have already been up and had their brunch or whatever, and have begun to walk around the village of Highglade. So you guys meet back up again together. So the village itself, they're decorating. There is a tree in the center of town that they have stripped all of the bark off of one of the large, long branches, and they begin to. Someone is up there tying decorative ribbons around the tree branch that have hooks underneath them, so the ribbon holds the hook to the tree. A couple of guards are walking by. One of them is a Highglade guard already, but talking with another one in that purple and gold color scheme in his livery from the capital. What would you like to do? To all of you.
What time of day is it now?
It's close to noon. You've had your morning meal and you're out walking around, and Chewbacca and the sisters have arrived in the village. So still not that big of a village, but it's a little bit bigger than yours. Not by too much. Still, many people live in the fields, in farmhouses out around the area and so forth.
Are there games of chance? What transpires during the festival?
So during the festival, it's actually kind of a somber festival. There are usually gifts that are offered to each other, and this is comes from traditions of offering support to get through the cold winter months. So that's kind of evolved into just general gift giving. But there are usually things that have to do with some kind of a food that you can that maybe is a treat. So above and beyond just your normal grain stores and dried meats and
All
that
right,
sort of thing.
so I'll see if I can find any merchants that might be doing business that day early and find some sort of exotic treat to bring home to the missus and to the staff, like a box to the staff and something really cool for the missus.
So honeycomb and different flavors of honey, things like that. Then some kind of a homemade lotion to keep the skin from drying out. So there's a lot of things like that that your wife would probably
cool
like.
So I get a nice gift basket.
Yeah.
Ashrin wants to fully enjoy the festivities, and
Okay.
If there's any games, she wants to play those.
All right. All right. So in one part of the town square, you will see that there are some people that are doing basically like an ash toss. This ash toss is ash-filled little leather pouches, and they're tossing it at these hanging clay lanterns from a distance. And so when the ash hits it, it like powders the lamp to see where exactly you hit and that sort of thing. And so these lanterns are lit, and when you see one youth wind up and pitch his leather pouch and it hits the lantern, and the whole lantern goes and just flares up, and everyone cheers. And that's one of the things you see. There's also there is another game that is called Ember Catch, and this is a game where there is a kind of a ball of ember cloth, which has a live ember inside, is tossed between players, and the trick is to hold it just long enough to warm your hands, but not so long that it singes your gloves. And so there's that game.
She'll try the ash toss.
Okay. All right. Very good. So to do that, I think that you should just make a simple outcome, or a quick outcome, to see if you can hit the lantern.
You got this. You can do it.
I don't think so, but she'll give it a try. I'm including the easy scapegoat because people might suspect she's using ill-gotten methods to throw.
Okay.
I think it's waiting on your approval.
Oh, you're just using that. I thought I was waiting for you to add more.
I literally don't
Just
have
one
anything.
negative.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
one negative. There you go. All right, so that's a lousy throw, and you send that little ash pouch through someone's window and lands in their kitchen. There's a little scream of surprise, very high pitched scream, and then this very thin man comes out. He's got half of his face covered in ash, and except for a little circle where this pouch hit. And he comes out, and all the kids are laughing and stuff like that. And he's like, all right, and he throws the pouch back to the guy running the game.
I go over to provide the coinage for him to replace his window. All in
didn't
good
break it, the
spirit, my
window.
good man.
The window was open.
Oh, okay, then I didn't do that. I thought he had
No,
shattered
you're
the
fine.
window.
Yeah, nope.
Okay.
You also notice some children have started to run around the village. They're wearing painted masks that represent apparently old forest spirits. And sometimes they sneak around trying to startle or trick adults.
The old forest spirits, do any of them wear a mask of the creature that we witnessed?
It's a funny thing that you should say that, because at one point it catches your eye and you whip over to look at it like, what the... And it's just an owl. It's not this weird thing. It's just got an owl kind of face. And someone else has a crow or a raven, and someone else seems to have, some other kind of like a tree bark face, that kind of thing. Different kinds of faces.
How many kids are out and about?
Quite a few. So it's hard to keep track of them because they're running around playing with each other, and they're poking each other with sticks and all that kind of stuff, and then stopping to play games. But you'd say easily a couple dozen, maybe more. It's hard to keep track of them
Wow.
all. Now,
Awesome.
remember, there are a lot of people still arriving to town, but some are already here. And then Martha shows up, and she says, "Oh, I hope you don't mind that I went ahead and just left with everyone. When I heard that you
No,
were already
no.
here, I didn't think you would mind."
No, 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 of course. I had to report on my findings. As I had mentioned to you the other night, we had to advise him, and he insisted that I stay. So I'm glad you came. I was going to put word out to you to say to come.
Ah, yeah. So I have I've been talking with some of the ladies, and they have told me more about this local tradition. This
You mean a tradition that does this, and I present her with the gift basket?
Oh, of course. And she blushes and kind of shoves you away a little bit. What are you doing? And that she loves
It's
it when you do that, and so
it's
you know,
tradition.
well, not all traditions need much explaining. It's clear why this has lasted the years. Who doesn't like a basket like this?
Who did she bring with us from staff? I guess she brought quite a few, right?
Yes. Yeah. So the only one that really decided to stay behind was
Derek.
that and your security guy. So
Right.
Derek had work to do. He has no time for nonsense like festivals. Um, that's that's for the younger people. He's not that old, but
I'll find a nice bottle, and if I happen to know what he does avail himself of as far as beverage, I'll pick him up a bottle.
Sure. I'm sure you could find some honey mead or a nice bottle of wine, and you could certainly grab that for him.
Something that I know that he would appreciate. He doesn't have to enjoy the festival, but he can be thought of.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure that Martha gets the basket with the stuff for the rest of the staff so that they can partake of some of the sweets too.
Okay. Sounds great. She says, "Yeah, this whole Emberlight Vigil is fascinating. They basically it's kind of a like an offering to the old gods or the old spirits as a blessing to get through the winter, and so they both everybody kind of goes to the tree at the center of the village, and they once they do that. Sorry about that. Uh, there's a tree in the village center, and they carry lanterns there that are lit with fire that's taken from their own hearth. And so our village, they've all brought lanterns, and they keep the fire stoked with wood from their own, hearths and stuff. And so, anyway, the villagers all hang their lanterns on the tree, and they also leave behind little tokens like maybe bark carvings of ancestors or bits of willow or dried fruit, little offerings, like small bundles of ash wrapped in cloth, various different things, because they say that as long as we offer warmth to the cold and fire to the dark, we're all remembered. Now, isn't that quaint?
That is lovely, actually. And it looks like it's a fine day for it.
Yeah, so at dusk tonight, I think that's when they're going to do it.
All right, I'm counting on you to represent for the family.
So there is an old woman. You hear her talking to, kind of scolding some kids as they run by. And she says something like, "Now don't follow any birds. Don't chase any birds away. Bad things can happen. You've got to stay safe."
I look at her and I go, is that part of the lore as well?
I don't think any of our village, they haven't mentioned anything about it, but I'll go ask and I'll go find out if you want.
I look at Ashton. Ashton, aren't you at all curious as why this lady just gave a bird warning?
She says, should I? They're birds.
There's always more to something. She looks like she might respond to youth very well. Why don't you go and inquire? Just tell her that you didn't mean to overhear, but why won't you follow birds?
Ashton will roll her eyes, give a sigh. Yeah, she's still got that kind of teenager attitude, and we go, fine. It's no magic.
She walks off. I look at Martha and I go, Martha, were we ever that bad?
No, we weren't.
Yeah, Ashern will approach the woman and go, what's this about birds?
Hey, birds? What do you mean, birds?
You were saying something.
Oh, I say a lot of somethings. This is a woman who's stooped and wiry with long white braids and skin like weathered leather. She leans on a blackened walking stick capped with a cracked silver lantern. She says, if you mean the firebirds, that's what I'm talking about. Is that what you mean, the firebirds?
I guess. Firebirds? What
Oh,
are those?
the comfort of ignorance. Well, yeah, the birds. Just don't chase any birds, okay? If you see any birds on fire, don't catch them. Don't chase them. Those are fire swallows. Leave them alone. Just let them be.
Do you mean like birds on fire?
Well, what does it sound like? Of course I mean birds on fire. I said fire swallows, didn't I?
Well, who's gonna light birds on fire?
They light themselves on fire. What are you talking about? They're fire swallows.
What? How?
They're from the land beyond. They're sent as an omen.
Oh,
You know, my grandpappy used to tell me a little jingle I remember. Follow not the feather fire, though it dances warm and bright. Where it leads, the roots will rise and steal away the light. So yeah, don't. The fire swallows.
Where are these fire swallows?
Well, do you see any birds on fire? They're not here, but if you see them,
I know.
don't follow them. Period.
Yeah, but where can I go see them?
Well, do I look like an aviary specialitist? Not me. My grandpappy, he talked about this swallow year, and fiery birds came, and half the village's crops burned to the ground in the dead of winter. No one believed him. But it happened. It happened. Or I'm not Bromwind Embernail.
Why are you warning everyone about these? Has anyone else seen
year
them?
It happens.
Does it happen every winter?
No. What are you, daft? What's your name?
Ashton, what's yours?
Yeah, Ashrin what?
Just Ashton.
Just Ashrin. You got, my grandpappy told me never trust someone with only one name.
Well, you haven't told me your name, so you got none.
I did. I'm Bramwind Embernail.
Bramwind.
Please.
Bramwind.
Bramwind
Now.
Embernail. Pleased to meet your acquaintance. Ashrin one name. That's what I'm calling you, so now you don't have one name.
I lean
Have you
over and
ever
nudge
seen-
Martha. This is
You ever seen the
priceless.
birds? Ask the lady, have you seen the birds or just your grandpappy?
A grandpappy. You don't think that birds just fly around on fire every day of the week, do you?
I mean, it'd be cool if they did.
Maybe, except I'm not sure that those birds mean goodwill.
How
I'd
big are
call it
the
a
birds?
bad omen. What's that?
How big are the birds?
How big's a swallow?
I don't know.
Not very. You talking like a big eagle or something? No. It's not a fire eagle. It's not a fire hawk or a fire vulture. It's a fire swallow. Why do you think they'd call it a swallow if it was big? My granddaughter calls swallows little cheapers.
She's gonna ask her if there's any way to summon the fire birds.
I don't know. What in blazing lanterns would you want to summon a fire swallow for?
To see it.
You want to burn the place down?
I just want to study it.
Well, it don't like to be studied. I guarantee you it won't like that.
How do you know?
No, you
haven't
better
seen
not.
one.
If one shows up, you best not mess with it. Because you play with fire, you're gonna get burnt.
We'll
I think
see.
that's how it
I'll
goes.
find one of them. You'll see.
Okay.
She'll return to the marshal and just say, I think there's some firebirds we should find.
Again?
Oh. You think so, Ashrin one name? Martha gives you a quick smile.
She'll glare at Martha. It's just Ashrin.
And she winks at you.
Well, I would have thought you would have pressed her on the land from beyond. What land from beyond? If they're not native to this land, where did they come from? She might be holding on to a little bit more lore than you realize. So you might want to treat that little lady with a little bit more deference.
I don't like her.
I'm sure she loves you.
Do I have to talk to her again?
Be kind to your elder folks. You will be one of them one day. The good
Well,
God's willing.
We'll see. She'll slowly turn, and kind of droop her head and head back to the old woman. And she'll say, "Where are these far-off lands?"
Farther than you'll ever go.
I've been very far.
Don't you? I have no doubt, young lady. Haven't you got someplace to be? Leave an old woman alone. And she just clicks her tongue at you and turns on her heel, grabbing her blackened staff, and just starts to walk away with the lantern swinging on from the top of the staff.
She'll
She walks a little bit from behind, like some kind of a big bison or something. It's like just two pigs fighting under a blanket kind of thing.
Plodding along.
Mm-hmm. Can't really even see her head anymore. Okay, so bit of a montage scene of you doing various little activities here and there, and dusk is coming, and there is a bell at the center of town near the tree, and they begin to ring the bell. And as they do, they ring a set of one long bell, one long bell, one long bell, and then it waits. And then there's another series of 3 long bells, and the bell goes quiet. A hush seems to come over the town, and you have kind of moved to a place that is made known to you as like the staging area for your village, right? And so you wait there, and after the 6 total bells, you begin kind of this little quiet procession. And as you go toward the center of town, you follow along with other villagers, and they're all carrying lanterns. And of course, your people have some lanterns from your own hearth as well, from your little mansion. So they all begin to gather around the tree, and then one at a time, while singing softly and humming, and some singing horribly, but they're singing like different winter carols. It turns out that there are enough ribbons for all of the lanterns, and only a few have to be doubled up. So at that point, then the rest of the ritual continues. And so the 2 sisters are there, soldiers are gathered around. You see Lord Vancroft there, and his house, and lots of other people. So the center of town is quite full of people. As they proceed, they have all of their lanterns lit, of course, and hanging on the tree. There is some strange flashing of the lanterns, almost like knots in the wood that caused the fire to pop, only these are embers. And they flash, and then all of a sudden a bird shoots out from the lantern and flies out across the sky and begins circling, a big streak of fire going behind it. And everybody is in awe, and some are scared.
Astron, do you see that?
She says, "Of course I do."
So the old lady was not exaggerating.
one of you looks around for the old lady, and she looks trembling and scared as well, like she has just seen um, something that she really maybe didn't even believe in, that her father or grandfather used to tell her, but she's a believer now, kind of thing. Yeah, go ahead.
I watch carefully just to see what it's doing, and also to read the room. Basically, I'm just trying to make sure that we don't get a panic outbreak or anything like that. Just try to keep people calm.
Ashrin's busted out her notebook and she's taking notes.
Okay. So yeah, so the bird is like soaring up into the sky and up into the clouds. There's some low clouds from winter, the chill of night, and as it goes through the cloud, you can just see the glow as it flies through the clouds, and it then kind of zooms down and behind some buildings, and you lose sight of it for a little bit. The trail quickly, of course, behind the fire trail behind it, just disappears very quickly after it flies past. So
Ashrin would try to rush through the alleys or streets or whatever to try to get to wherever it went down.
yeah, and you're not alone. There are several of the town who are interested in kind of figuring out where it went and what's going on. Many of them are on the younger side, such as yourself, or younger, trying to go find what is this amazing little flaming bird. So you're kind of dodging through buildings, looking for signs of the bird and so forth, and you've lost track of it. It seems to have flown the coop, if you will.
I make my way over to the old lady, and I go, my comrade mentioned that you had discussed the Firebird. How auspicious, I hope, it is to see one. What was it exactly?
Oh, no,
Grandfather said?
No, it's not good. It's not good.
What did your grandfather say? And the tone changes, like she knows now that I'm really not asking pleasantries. I want to know what it means to see the bird.
Sure. The bird, harmless at first, more spectacle than anything, but they burn. They burn too hot, and they get agitated. They can scorch flesh and set cloth aflame.
And if they're left alone, do they just go away?
I think they must be appeased. I don't know.
I make my way to Lord Bancroft.
Okay. Yep.
My lord, a word.
We've got our hands full here trying to talk to the people about, keep them calm.
A fire sparrow?
Yes. You saw it too.
Yes, I saw it too.
What in the bloody blazes is that?
From what I heard at Lisa's rumors, it's not a good thing to see one. They burn bright and they burn things. If they get agitated, they have to be potentially appeased. I was wondering if you had any knowledge, anything in your books about them.
I don't think so. I don't know. I've not heard of them. But this village is made of wood and stone.
I would say that we should ask people not to agitate or chase it. If it's on fire, it could literally light this whole village up in its own defense.
And then you hear, Toma, where are you? Toma. You hear some people calling out for a child, and then one woman comes up the steps to where Lord Bancroft and you are talking, and she says, "My lord, my son's gone missing. We can't find him anywhere."
I'll have some of my men search the western part,
Right.
and
Be
I
on the lookout. She's
excuse
wearing
myself and
a wool cap.
what does he look like?
Wool cap, red cheeks.
Answers to the name
Toma.
Toma. All right, so I make my way to my
He's got a
retinue
little wooden
and
bird he carries with him everywhere. He's 9.
see if we can find any traces. Where was he last seen?
He was right with us, but then the bird came out, and people started. I don't know. I lost track of him.
My lord, I think you should raise the alarm and call people back to the town as to square, as opposed to having them run out trying to find this thing.
All right. Well, let's set off the town guard in different directions. You and your men take the south back toward where your village is. Search the outside perimeter of the town, and we'll take northwest and east. Go ahead.
It'll be done. And I relay the orders to our retinue.
All right, as you get out of town and away from all of the lamplight and torchlight, the true darkness of the evening begins to settle on you. The sun has gone down by now, for sure, and the last of the light that comes over the horizon is long gone. And
We're lighting our torches so that we're able to look and call out Toma.
Okay. You see some other kids, and they're coming back, a girl and a boy, and the girl's crying.
What happened? Are you okay?
Well, we were just chasing, trying to catch that firebird. And,
Which way did it go?
I fell down and I hurt my knee, and so Jess here is tucked me back. But Toma, he's obsessed. He really wants to catch that bird.
Which way did Toma go?
And they point further to the south toward, there's lots of glades and trees and such in these areas. So
Martha, see to it that these two get back safely. I will continue with Ashran and Chewbacca.
Okay. All right.
And we will start double huffing it.
Yep. Chewbacca notices a glow in the cloud. It's got kind of a fiery glow, and it shoots off toward the glade of trees, kind of circles, and then disappears again, kind of into the trees.
So he points that out. We'll make our way in that general direction, assuming that the child is still probably running towards what he's seeing.
Yep. Wouldn't happen to have a Hinterland tracker with you, would you?
I wish.
Once again. All right.
I tell the ladies to stay indoors and lock it and make sure that they stay safe. I have to go and find. Well.
Okay. All right. So you join with the other
there's
two.
A flame in the sky, and it must be inspected for the safety of the community.
Yep. All right. So you join the other two, headed toward the glade, and in some of the crispy snow, that's a half melted layer of snow that has just that thin layer of ice from the day's sunlight on it, so that it crunches under your feet. So you make out these small footprints that would fit a 9-year-old running toward the woods there, and
Now that we got footprints to follow, we chase it down.
yeah. Um,
It's good that we have a trail to follow.
you then come screeching to a halt at the edge of the woods. The footprints uh, disappear. And worse still, you kind of lower your torch a little bit to see more clearly what it is you're looking at, because you weren't sure you saw it that way first. But you feel a little bit of adrenaline, Marshal Jared, as you recognize beneath the broken crust of the snow are some vines that have what might be considered little veins of black running through them.
Do I find
Of
any
course,
indication
shout out loud. No.
that the child may have dropped his toy and been suddenly dragged off? Do I find his toy nearby?
You do. Good. I won't have to make you look for it because you were looking. So you do notice a small wood-carved bird laying in the snow.
The direction that went in. No footprints going any
That's
further.
towards
How,
the
what is it towards the?
Yeah. Yep. Just right toward the forest. So I'm just going to reuse this map for tonight. Hold off on that. Let me just clean up some of these old tags. One thing about this area is that it is dark and cold. There's ice-crusted snowfall, or just snow. I guess we could just say ice. Okay. So we'll give you those two tags: dark and cold, and ice-crusted snow. Can you see that up in the scene tags up in the top left corner?
Yep, it says dark and
Yeah,
cold,
yes,
ice crusted snow.
Good. Just want to make sure I was showing for you. All right. So
We just need the other two on the board.
Yep.
Just me right now.
That's right. You're all alone. All of a sudden. Do. All
In
right. And then
exasperation, I say, it's dark and cold, and the snow is hard and crusty. I hate those
right.
things.
Yeah, that weather changed very quickly. As I make my way with my sword drawn, because I wouldn't have my shield, just my sword, as you know, for ceremonial purposes. But what do I see in the tree line?
So right where you are, because you have been following these footprints, there are like footprints that have broken through this thin ice crusty layer of snow, and beneath it you see these unusual looking but all too familiar miasmic vines.
I am going to carefully and gingerly avoid the vines, step between them if possible, and continue on to see if I find traces of the boy being dragged, breaking anything, branches, you know, any indication that he may have been pulled through a particular way.
Okay. The vines as if sensing movement, begin to grow along the ground like a stretching snake.
Do I hear the boy by any chance?
No, you don't hear the boy. These vines
Ashern hops back, seeing the vines
Looks
grow
like-
and move.
they are
Don't
they're
let them
They
them
are-
touch you.
going through the ground, moving just like they did underground the last time you encountered them.
These things nearly killed me. Remember the vines that I told you that inflicted me with my condition, and she remembers my red eyes, the tinge? These are them. They will kill you. Do not underestimate them.
Ashern's going to try
They are the
to
vines.
create some mage fire on her
Okay.
staff.
Yep. All right, you go ahead and do that. Create your tag or tags. Marshall, Jared, you have the spotlight. These vines seem to be seeking you out. They are stretching like snakes coming at you from different directions. What do you do?
I am going to slash at them
Okay.
and make them realize that I am not the kind of prey they want to pursue.
Okay. All right. They will then try to wrap themselves around you and squeeze you if you have consequences from your role here to slash at them.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If I so what I want to do is create I guess like a tag or like a scene tag or something.
Yep. Yeah.
With the mage fire to create light and heat to basically counter out the dark and cold.
Okay.
Scene tag.
Yeah. So
Is
what
that
you would
just
do?
is this creating a tag or
Yeah,
is
we call these story tags. That's a term we can use on all of them, right? On all these tags.
okay?
The scene tags, they go along inside the VTT to the scene itself. Like I can pre-create tags when I create a scene and put tags there, and then these are tags that describe the environment.
Okay.
So, but they're all called
Well,
story tags.
So
But yes,
I
you-
guess my question is, should I create a story tag that says like bright and warm mage fire,
Yeah.
or should I remove the dark and cold scene tag?
So what I would
mitigate it, I guess.
Correct. Yeah, I understand what you're asking now. So what you would do is you would create a tag that's opposite that, because you're not going to change
Okay.
that it's dark and cold.
Oh yeah, okay. That
But
makes
you
sense.
can
Yeah.
offset it with
Yeah.
light and warmth.
Okay.
So I'm gonna, like I said, take my swipe, and it's gonna be a tracked outcome. So I'll just execute it. Let
Okay.
you ask me what you have a question on, and remove what you don't think
All right.
applies.
I'll let you use your wasn't born yesterday, but this is attacking you. So defend the weak's not directly relevant. I would say nothing gets to you makes sense to me, because you don't want the vines to get to you, but also you've got a steeled will, if you will.
And I've fought the vines before, so they're not gonna intimidate me or scare me.
Can handle a blade and forged in war makes sense, but become a knight, I don't think that exactly. It doesn't fit directly. But
Okay.
I definitely think you should be suffering from nightmares. with
Fair enough.
that. So I will confirm those. Oh, what happened?
Sorry.
Oh, that's Ashram, so that's okay. The literally at the same time I hit confirm, your window popped up, and I'm like, wait,
Okay.
what? All the tags changed in it? What's going on? Yeah, it just caught me off guard. All right, so with the 12, that's a great success. So you will take no consequences, and you can deal power of 3 for your tracked outcome. So you can deliver a tier 3 status if you would like.
I would deliver a the vines become fearful. Fearful 3. They realize that I'm not an easy grab. I bite. Or maybe better yet, yeah, no, I don't know how big this thing is. Let's just get its gauge right now.
Okay, so what is it you're going to do to it?
Baiting. I'm gonna give it wounded 3.
Okay. All right, so a 7 is a success with consequences. So I think your mage fire can certainly burn things, right?
Yeah.
All right, so it seems like maybe I could use this opportunity to burn a tag. By the way, you still have people and magic to improve. Did you forget, or are you waiting?
The magic just improved with this roll.
Oh, gotcha.
And
Okay.
yeah, I'm waiting on the other one.
Gotcha. All right, cool. All right, so I think maybe your star metal tipped staff may be just a star metal tip. So your mage fire catches your staff on fire, and so to avoid taking a hurt status, you can burn your star metal tip staff. Otherwise, you can put the fire out and take burnt 2. What do you want to do?
Yeah, no, I'll just say in her inexperience, yeah, she ends up burning her staff.
Okay. Does that make a fire sound in your ear? Okay. You have to have the volume, but to hear it. All right. So, very good. Then the vines recede quickly from your slashes as you leave parts of the vines back. They just pull right in under the cover of the snow to recede away from you. You almost think you can hear a little high-pitched scream.
Which direction?
They recede into the forest.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. So Ashrin has just torched her staff, and the ashes, like it just goes, and it just was too strong, and it just caused the whole wooden part of her staff to become ash. And the star metal tip falls to the ground while she's shaking her hands like, whoo, whoo, that was hot. And, but the star metal tip of the staff, was that the focus of your power? Was the...
Yeah.
So it's actually glowing bright. You just, it caught the whole staff on fire. So it's sitting in the snow, burning bright and warm. So you can create those tags if you want. Can you add them in the scene tags?
I
Or do you just add? Yeah, otherwise you just add a story tag to your sheet. Fine.
Since there's now a bit more illumination, do I see the child dangling from the trees above, or no indication of that? Still have to go further in.
No. So at that point, then the vines themselves seem to have retreated, but the glow of this bird lights up the forest as it comes forward, kind of lands on a high branch of a tree, and then flies again, just real fast, going from tree to tree limb inside of the forest ahead. It's not a dark, haunted forest like where the Hollow Maw was, the old glade. This is
Right.
just a normal.
Is it lighting a path?
It seems to be taunting you.
Fine.
Maybe.
I pursue it.
Okay. You feel
Come, Jared. And I run forward, expecting him to follow.
right. You feel some measure of inspiration from it. Like it's just kind of awe-inspiring. This bird that's flying on fire. It's just literally on fire.
Well, I am going to see and hope and pray that it's leading me towards where the child is. But either way, it's the direction that the vines retreated in, correct? Further into the forest?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep, that's where I'm going.
Okay. As you continue, all of you go. Chewbacca. Some vines suddenly whip up from around a tree. They kind of swirl around the tree, and they rear up their heads as if they were a snake ready to strike. What do you do?
Are we having audio problems?
Chewbacca?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
So these vines are now coming up out of the side of foliage while you're running there, and they're raising up as if they were like coiled snakes ready to strike. What do you do?
Well, I will try to stay with Jared so that we can't be surrounded or anything. And I will use my sword to try and get the vines to maybe be hurt or damaged enough that they would withdraw.
Okay, so you're gonna hack at the vines, hopefully just weed whacking them down to size or getting them to withdraw the way Jared did. All right, go ahead and put together a tracked outcome.
Yes, but I'm going to be working with Jared using team tactics.
Okay. So Jared, he's inviting you to join him.
All right.
So, why don't you throw in at least one tag that makes sense?
Yep. I will
So
throw in.
you can tell me which one to do, and I will add it to his roll.
Okay. Nothing gets to me. Trying to instill that courage in him as well.
Okay. All right. So, Chewbacca, go ahead and start your roll up, and I will add one of his tags for you.
Tracked? Tracked or quick?
Tracked. In this case, you're trying to inflict damage, and we track damage in that way.
All right. Waiting for approval.
Okay, let me look here. Okay, mercenary fighter, team tactics, stand fast, and I'm gonna throw out the.
Can I have allowed dynamite as well?
No, that's a City of Mist mechanic. We don't do that here. Bright and hot mage fire. Don't think I'm gonna give you that one, but we are gonna add in the nothing gets to me. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Go ahead and make your roll. So by weighing in, Jared, you are bringing yourself to bear on consequences. So you each are going to do a power of 3 worth of damage, or what, or at this point you're trying to deal out harm, right? But at the
Yes.
same time, it is going to be able to take away 2 weapons. In this case, I'm going to split it between the 2 of you. So, Jared, I'm burning your shining sword.
Oh wow.
And Chewbacca, I think, I'm looking for something that represents a weapon for you.
Oh, it's just been. I'm a mercenary fighter, so I
Yeah,
have
there you go.
collected a weapon.
We'll do that. We'll take away your mercenary fighter. We'll burn that. Okay? That represents your lack of mercenary-like weapons to use. Okay. So it's going to take away your weapons, and it kind of throws them back into the forest where the vines withdraw to. As a defensive maneuver, it seems to be keeping those things away from you. You can pursue your weapons and try to get them back, risking stepping further into the area that's controlled by the miasmic vines, or you can leave your weapons behind and continue searching for the boy.
Oh, I'm all
Ashran.
about the boy, so I will definitely scream that we must save the boy.
You
Gosh, it's
see me
almost
step
been so
towards my
tempting.
blade for a second, like you could actually see the anguish in my face.
Yeah.
And then I realized that, yes, the boy, of course. And I repositioned to go back to get the boy. I will use the boy as a weapon going forward.
There you go. Swing him.
Yeah.
Hey, I lost my notched sword as well.
All right. So the vines have a way to kind of protect themselves. They shrink back and regrow quickly. So I am reducing their status to just chopped 1. With that, the vines begin to twirl around Ashran's feet. You feel the thorny aspect of the vines start to try to dig into your skin, while the miasma, you feel this dark energy about them as well. As there's definitely that, I don't know if I've described it before, I think, where it's like little black gnats flying around it. It's just got this dirty kind of sense to it. What do you do, Ashran?
Can I pick her up and run first?
No, I'm asking Ashran. I mean, you want to just, but I thought you were looking for the boy.
Are we not all going that way?
You are, but Ashton's still kind of coming in. She's by her,
Yeah.
on
She's a
at
little
her
behind.
side of the party. At her side of the party,
Okay. So
she's got her own
probably
challenge going
didn't
on.
even notice that she was being annoying.
Yeah, so you just notice that they're really growing really fast around your feet, and if you don't take some kind of action, it's likely they're going to
Yeah.
entangle you.
She's
Well,
going to uh try to cause the star metal tip that's on the ground now with the mage fire burning on top of it.
Mhm.
She's gonna try to uh in her mind picture that fire lashing out at the vines, uh try to burn them.
Okay.
Tracked outcome.
Yes. Mhm.
Actually, I think I'm gonna burn that tag instead. I think it removed it instead of actually adding it.
I did. I think you get a chance to burn it.
Okay.
When I approve it, now you can burn it.
Oh, there. Okay, yeah, I see now.
Yeah.
Another low roll.
All right. With a 5, you end up fumbling around with the star metal tip, and it just wraps. It just wraps you up. So it is going to keep you entangled in vines. So it didn't give you. Now, why is that? Hold on a second. Edit. If I put it in brackets, it's supposed to. Could it be that it needs to do that? I didn't notice it, and I was hurried putting these together. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so entangled in vines is. Oh, that wasn't it. Okay, so entangled in vines. I'm going to hit that status on you. Entangled in vines. All right. You are entangled in vines, and you feel them sort of. Okay, Chewbacca, you're now aware that Ashran is getting wrapped up in these vines, and you see that the vines are pulsing with this dark black miasma, and and it's like starting to tighten on her like some kind of a constrictor snake. What do you do?
I mean,
You're the closest
would
to her to take the first action. What would you do?
it be possible for me to free her from the vines, or do I need to reduce the check?
You can sure try. You don't have your mercenary weapon. I assume it's a sword.
Yes.
So you can like grab at the vines and try to pry them off of her, you could certainly do that. It seems like that would be the just try to grab and try to get them off, like, oh no, and just try to wrestle with it to get it off from around her, because it's just like snaking up her, like just twisting her up in it, and she's like, wah. So yeah,
Okay,
you
well,
can do that. Go ahead and do a tracked
I will
outcome.
pull on her, and maybe I can give her.
What you're
Protected
trying to
from-
do is reduce her status. She's entangled in vines, and you're trying to disentangle her, right? So
Yeah.
the power level that you can come up with will be the amount that you might be able to reduce her status.
This is 3. Okay, well, I will do my best. Hey, Jared, I need you. And then
Yeah, I see what's happening, and I start making my way there.
So Jared, make a just a simple outcome roll to be able to see well inside. I'm going to use dark and cold against you on that roll as a tag against you, but I want you just to make a tracked outcome to see into the woods.
Okay. All right.
This may be an opportunity to give you a hard choice.
All right. A quick outcome. You
Yeah.
said.
Yep.
Execute.
Okay. So you see the glow of your sword in the darkness, the opposite direction from where Chewbacca is helping Ashrin. You can choose to go get that, or just to go try to help Chewbacca. Chewbacca, did you make your roll to try to reduce the status? Okay.
I have not.
Protecting the weak makes sense. And team tactics, not so much. Choose your battles.
Well, I'm staying to keep my team together and make sure nobody is left behind. Surely.
Yep. All right, go for it. I want you to go ahead and roll that. And let's see if your tracked outcome can reduce your status by 1. If you roll 10 or higher, which you did, Boxcar.
Sweet.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Now you can trade for a consequence to get 1 more level of power. Right now you have a power of 1. So you'll be able to reduce her tangled from entangled 3 to entangled 2, right? Or
Yeah.
you can accept a consequence on yourself to get an extra power of de-entangling on her. What would you like to do?
I'll take the consequence.
Okay. So I'm going to give you all right. So for your consequence, I'm just going to have nothing happen directly to you, but the consequence of this is that the vines have a growth surge and the scale of the vines goes up. So in other words, they begin to spread in this area around you. You're getting her out of there. We're going to reduce this entangled in vines by 2. A -2, that makes you entangled 1. Okay. So you're almost out of your entangling. Jared, you've chosen to go help Ashrin instead of get your sword, right?
Yeah.
All right. So how do you help her?
I kick that gem that she had closer to the base of the roots where she's standing. So if it burns the roots,
Yeah.
it might let her go.
Okay, so the tip of her staff that's on fire, you're
Mhm.
going to.
Yeah, I just pumped it over.
All right. So that's not really helping Ashrin. That's attacking the vines. That's the way I see it. So I mean, it does. If it kills the
Yes,
vines, it helps Ashrin.
she's a beneficial. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, but you're not necessarily de-entangling her. You're just trying to beat back the vine. Gotcha. All right. So go ahead and make your roll. You can use the bright and hot mage fire as one of your tags.
Okay. I don't have that, so it would be added.
Do you not see it up at the top left in the scene category? Or in the story tags, probably if you look at your character sheet at the bottom right. No, you don't see other player story tags. Well, that's interesting. Okay, fair. So you wouldn't see it up in the top left either. That's, I guess,
No,
for me.
that's what I
I'll
was
add
saying.
it.
I'm like, unless my
Yep.
eyes are failing me, I'm not seeing what you're saying.
No, they're not failing you. All right, so go ahead. I'll add that for you.
Okay, and that's okay. That's what I'm gonna do. And this would be tracked, so I'll change that, and I will execute. Let me know.
Nothing gets to me. Wasn't born yesterday. I don't see how wasn't born yesterday directly affects. So I'm looking for direct effect. All right, so let's go ahead and confirm those. You've got a couple, and then I put sentimentality as a minus because I feel like you're maybe have something to do with.
And now you said that
Ashton
anything
getting
that I
hurt.
burned, I can get back, right? So if I burn, find
Eventually.
cover because I have no intentions of finding cover at this moment in
Oh, you
time.
have to burn. No, you have to burn one of the tags you put in use.
Oh, okay.
In order to affect the roll, it has to be one of the tags you used.
Gotcha. All right. So nope. We'll go with what we got.
Okay. Nice. Look at that.
Oh wow.
Very nice.
So, because you have one power, you can afflict it with one more power. And so, what would be the status you're going to give it with this?
I'm going to give it what is it? Weakened. The vines are weaker, much weaker.
And what made them weaker?
The flames started burning them and hurting them.
Okay. So, here's what happened. You kick the star metal tip of her staff. You kick it right in like a soccer goal, right into this bunch of vines, and it actually picks up, like it wraps around this star metal tip and rows it behind it. It doesn't burn, but you do hear like boiling water sounds, steering, but the vines themselves seem unaffected by flame.
Oh, that was kicked towards her. It's to land near her towards the vines that were holding her. Is that not working?
Sure. So same thing is in other words, it lands against the vines, but they don't burn, and another vine grabs it and throws it aside.
but it did get weaker.
It does not appear to be weaker.
Okay.
The flames themselves seem to have no effect on it. With that, the vine starts to, since she's still entangled, she isn't completely free, the vine begins to really tighten down and apply a great deal of pressure on Ashrin. Ashrin, what do you do? You feel it tightening its grip.
Well, she's out of her magical options mostly, so she's just gonna try to slip out of it as best she can.
Okay.
And while she's doing that, I'm going to try to close the gap so I can actually get to the vines that she's wrapped up. That was a desperation move to try to actually get it closer to her before I
Sure.
arrived.
Okay, Chewbacca, you're also right there. If you'd like to throw in a tag to help her, you can. But you'll share in the consequences if she doesn't roll well.
Is this mitigate?
Nope, this would be, I mean, you could do that. You could, like, accept the consequence and mitigate it, or you could do something about it. What I think you're trying to do is escape.
Right.
I give her defend the weak.
I also have protecting the weak. I'm able to
Okay.
use it.
All right. Yep. Okay, Ashrin, roll or come up with your tag so I can roll it. Here we go.
Use the.
You're
use
using a
the. Yeah.
crew tag. Yep.
Yep.
All right. Then you get a protecting the weak added in, and Marshall Jared adds in a, where is it? Defend the weak. All right. And
It should automatically.
the fact that you're
burn that one.
entangled. What's
Oh,
that?
It should it automatically burn the crew tag?
Yes, it's a temporary tag. So yeah, using it once burns it, just like using your bright and hot mage fire is supposed to burn it too, because it's a temporary tag. Okay. Da
Nice.
da da da. So with the power of 2, you can reduce your entangled in vines 1 down to 0.
Yeah.
You are free. Okay. The vines begin to surge again. You can see they're growing up around the trees that are around you. They're kind of slithering around like snakes. Why does it always have to be snakes? But these are vines. Why does it always have to be vines? They're coming up out of everywhere, like up out of the ground. You feel like this whole area is very dangerous right now. And I'm going to add a scale of another 1 to, what happened? There. So now it's scale 2. All right. It's surging all around you. Who wants to take the next action?
I do. I want
Okay.
to. Go ahead. What did you say, Chewbacca?
My intention is to put my arm behind Ashrin and just run as fast as I can out of this area.
Yeah, she's sort of out of tricks, so she wants to run away.
Okay.
What is the possibility that by this point in time, the Viscount's men may be coming in this direction since they know and I sent them back with the other kids.
Probably pretty low, but you notice the vines where you're at are where they're growing, but it doesn't look like your sword is being completely engrossed in those vines. So
I
you
go
might be able
get
to
it.
go over and get your sword.
I am gonna go get it.
All right, so that will require a tracked roll, and we're gonna have to restore your sword tag.
Okay.
So do that, and let's see if you suffer any consequences while trying to do that.
Okay. And I'm going to. Okay, I'm gonna roll.
Okay. All right. Yep. Muster courage. Not find cover. And nothing gets to me. All right. All right. With a 9, you were able to get your sword. You can unburn that tag in your backpack, which you keep forgetting to use. The main reason I burnt it is because you keep forgetting it's there. All right. So then you are going to take potentially get entangled by this thing at the same time. Excuse me. So I want you to mitigate that. I'm going to give you a chance to mitigate that while you leap and tumble and pick up your sword and all that kind of stuff. Let's just see if you can reduce entangled.
Okay, let's see.
It's a mitigation roll, and you're just really trying to create 3 power, basically, to mitigate.
Right. And I would be applying my tags, correct? Political
Yeah.
tags.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
All right. Did you use muster courage already? Just this last move? So I'm not going to let you use that to mitigate, but I would say you didn't use can handle a blade, and you didn't use nothing gets me because I didn't let you, and wasn't born yesterday. I don't think you used that either.
No.
And you didn't use. I denied you find cover. However, I think I will include nightmares because you're getting wrapped up in these vines again. You just keep thinking like it's wrapping around your leg, and you can't help but think of being yanked down into the void by those last vines so many months ago.
Okay.
Roll it. All right. Well, an 8 gives you 3 power, so you get to mitigate. There's no consequences necessarily to a mitigation unless you roll a 6 or less, then you take the full effect. So in this case, you'll take 1 less power. So you are slightly entangled. I'm going to give you entangled 1. And you should be able to get out of that with another roll. But that was your mitigation. So instead of being entangled 3, you're entangled 1. All right. You now you now have your sword in your hand. You may now use that in your next action. But before you do, are the other two, are you guys running back out of the forest to get away from the vines? Or are you, is that your intention?
That's Asher's attention.
To get the hell out of Dodge? All right. Then
Yep.
what I'm going to
So,
do
so there
is
is no running towards the boy or something? It's only
that's
escape?
deeper into the forest. You're not really sure where the boy is yet. You haven't found him. These vines cropped up before you saw him anywhere. So if you mean
What?
to follow the
I don't think
fiery,
we're in any shape to go further.
yeah, there's the fire sparrow, which I don't know if you're assuming that he's leading you to the boy or not, but you've got that. You're trying to chase it into the forest. I think
Jared has
somebody
his
told you
sword.
not
Is
to
he
chase
gonna
the
cover
bird.
our backs while we move into the forest?
Didn't somebody say don't chase the bird? I thought somebody said don't chase the bird. Anyway, I'm kidding. So,
I only went because the bird's going in the direction the vines went in, and if the vines drag the boy, then that's the direction I'm going in.
Okay.
No.
Well,
No, totally cool. Well, this is, I think we're going to stop right here at this moment of tension where you're considering, I
Cliffhanger?
mean,
A
perhaps,
cliffhanger?
Does someone
perhaps
come in to save us?
you're trying, no, it's not like one of those cliffhangers.
Oh, Maya's
This
not going
is
to show up.
there's a critical moment where Jared, you feel like you've got your sword and you're going to be hanging on to it and you're going to use it to great effect, right? So, which
We
is going to
Jared,
add a whole nother
your shining
tag.
sword is back.
You're going to add another
Work our
power
way
to every
through.
single thing you do. Exactly. So now that you remember it's there, you don't miss it till it's gone, right? So
absolutely.
so you've got this, but the other two feel like they're out. So Chewbacca doesn't have his sword anymore. It's somewhere over by where you picked up your sword. But you feel like you're a little entangled, but you probably should be able to break out of that. Like cut that thing off your leg. Um, but the other two are wanting to go. You've got a firebird that's flying around in the trees above, and the vines are still growing up around those two. They want to leave. So their role would
Well,
be either, and I haven't decided yet. I may leave it up to you guys to decide. Either you'll make a mitigate roll from an entangling harm coming your way, right? To be entangled, and you have to mitigate. And if you can mitigate by enough, then you're not entangled, right? In which case you can escape. Um, and that would leave Jared alone in the woods with one of his greatest nightmares. Yay.
And the
So,
boy.
and the boy somewhere. You assume he's in there. You assume he hasn't been eaten yet.
I
Was
hope
harm to
springs
children?
eternal.
Was harm to children one of the lines and we drew? We're not going to go. We didn't really do lines, did we? Well, who knows what's going to happen to that poor Toma? Poor Toma. What will happen? Tune in next
well,
week to find out.
that's the problem. I am highly motivated to find the boy,
Right.
but I haven't really got much left, and I now have Ashton as well, who doesn't have her stuff, and so it feels
Well,
like
hopefully we
it's
have
time
Maya
we
with us next week, and that's
Maybe
another variable.
Chewbacca can walk softly and start carrying a big stick. Who knows? Who knows? All right, guys, say goodbye to our YouTube audience. There were 3 views tonight. That could have been us. I don't know.
Nice. Good
But
night.
thanks,
Awesome.
everyone. And
Thank you.
we'll see you guys next week.
All right, everyone.